Shout out to Nomis Industries. He shipped this out tomorrow and I got it today. Super fast service.
So I guess me and Matt are doing most of the talking in this one.
What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. After 50+ days of fighting with the mosquito, the EF sedan is ready to fire over with the new engine. Now, it may seem that I took the engine from the dolly and just stuffed it into the car, But there's more than that. There's a lot of things that change along the way, and a lot of contemplating on what to do with certain things. I am still actually waiting for parts to show up, but I opt to just use the stuff that was in the car already and just get the car fired over. When the new stuff shows up, we'll just swap it all out. Not a big deal, right? Take you guys over to the engine bay here real quick to show you some of the things that we changed if you guys didn't catch it in the previous clips. Obviously, this is a brand spanking new engine I mentioned in plenty of videos ago. This is the original K20a2 engine that came out of my wagon that was smoking, and it sat on the engine stand for a very long time until we sent it off to the homie Chris built. So Chris assembled his entire long block with new parts. Let me run you guys through it really quickly. The bottom block, stock K20a2, stock sleeve, bored over 86.5 with Cali Comstar rods and upgraded rod bolts with Eris pistons, flat top. I believe it's like a 10.0 compression, cylinder head, bone stock. It has SuperTech dual valve springs, retainers, seats and keepers, along with SuperTech intake and exhaust valve. We have ARP head studs. I believe it has a JE Pro Seal head gasket. Everything on the timing side brand new. This engine is literally 0 miles, brand spanking new. This long block was not supposed to go in for a little while, but unfortunately on the last dyno day, our old engine shot a rod. If you guys saw the previous video, one of the main things that I was waiting for was the new alternator kit from T7's design, and I really wanted to get rid of the old unit that was on here. I didn't really like it. It did break on the KRX originally, and actually the KRX has the T7 kit on it as the replacement, and I wanted it for this car as well too, to have a peace of mind for long travels that I'm not going to have issues with the alternator bracket. So T7's design, shout out. I don't think I've shown you guys, but I put the stock header into the car because I want to make sure that this thing works 100% before we pop the turbo kit out of the wagon and stick it in here. The stock header is just to simplify. If something happened, I can work around it easier, and I just need it on here for a couple of heat cycles with the new engine, with the Mobile 1 you guys saw I put in here. Do a couple heat cycle, make sure everything works, make sure the fan works per temperature through the ECU, and run it a couple of times. Probably going to do it for about 2 days, maybe 1-2 today, then 1-2 tomorrow, and then we'll drain the oil out and run the VR1 per Chris's instruction. I did show you guys I swapped in ID 2000s that was in here when I went to go tune. I actually sent them out to get cleaned by the homie Nomis Industries, and fast turnaround time, man. He cleaned them, he flowed them. It was like 100%, and I threw it in. But then I called him and I was like, well, I'm not turbojet. Is it okay to run it on the tune map with the ID 2000 and dead times? He told me that I can run it with the tune map, but the thing is, this thing is all motor now, and secondly, it's lower compression, so the AFR is going to be different. And because it's going to be different, it has big injectors. We definitely do not want to risk washing the walls down, because these injectors will probably spit a lot. I mean, I don't know much about injectors and duty cycles and things like that, but you know, coming from the homie, I take his word for it. So what I did off camera was I took out my ID 2000s, and then I wired in the factory RSX plug with the stock injectors. And the reason why I did that is because I need the ID 2000 plug anyways for the new harness that needs to show up. So this is the harness that was on the car originally, and I threw it back on because I thought shipping was going to be faster for the new harness, and it's not. It's going to show up in 4 days, which is a day before I leave the SoCal. So I need the plugs for that harness anyway, so I put these stock injectors back in, and I'm just going to load a stock map just to get this setup going. You guys probably also noticed I took out my license plate fan shroud to make a semi-legit one. So I had extra material for making my catch can, and it was enough length to make the shroud entirely out of aluminum for this radiator. And when I say semi-legit, this is what I mean. It's not fully folded over to the side, it's just foam in between, and it's just a flat sheet with a circle cut out for the diameter of my fan. And I did this with rivets on the tabs instead of welding it like I usually do. So this shows you guys that so you can use some basic tools and not even a welding machine to make a shroud. Just got to be a little creative with it. This shroud is pretty sturdy on there, and I don't think it's going to give me any type of problems. And it looks good too. I mean, I did like the K20 swap license plate, but this looks good too. Got my windshield replaced because the one that was on the car was cracked in many different ways. And shout out to Mr. Douglas for coming over here and knocking it out real quick. He actually got a glass for the CRX as well too, and then I realized damn, the CRX actually has a lot of rust underneath the channel. So I decided to not do it today until I take care of all the rust. You guys probably can't see it, but all that rust right there, oh, you can see that. All this rust, I want to take care of it first before I do a new windshield, because when I do paint this car, I want to make sure that, you know, all that rust is gone. So again, shout out to Mr. Doe Glass for coming out here and getting me the proper glass, because he did come yesterday and he brought a hatchback glass. But today he showed up with a sedan, and not only did he show up with the right glass, he actually retained my OEM molding, so I'm pretty happy about that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hook up the ECU, make sure we have battery, and try to fire this car over. Okay, so set you guys up. This thing is going to be loud, and I did hear the fuel go. I don't smell any leaks. All right. Take one. This shit is loud. Alternator's charging at 14.0, 13.9, 14.0, 14.1, which is good. And that's all I really want to do, because one, super loud, echoing the entire neighborhood, especially because my neighbor's driveway is empty with cars. There's only one car there. Normally there's 6, and it's just echoing super crazy. But the car turns on. It's surging idle, obviously, because no idle control valve, no coolant for the most part, and that's probably going to be something I'm going to take care of tomorrow. All I wanted to do was make sure this thing turned on, and you know, I'm shaking for some reason. That is the sound of the new engine, guys. I may not show a lot of excitement in this video, man, but deep down inside, I am jumping for joy. I read these comments all the times on videos where I'm firing over a new swap static. Why are you so excited? You've done this 1,000 times. Facts. I've done this a lot, yes. But just like my first swap, there is still a lot of effort that goes into getting it to fire over. In the case of this sedan, we literally popped the engine less than 2 weeks ago, and I was still set to my deadline to make it down to the Honda meet in Lake Elsinore. And I've just been breaking a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get this car to this point, to turn it on in this video for you guys, with 4 days left to get this car entirely done before I go to LA. That's why I'm jumping for joy, even though I don't really show it, because I am mentally and physically tired. But I'm just really happy that it lives once again. You know what I'm saying? When you guys put yourself in my ripped shoes, you guys probably understand the feeling that I'm feeling right now. But I still got a lot ahead of me. I still got a lot to do. I'm still shooting for it, and I'm still trying to make it all happen. I am going to wrap up this video though, but before I do so, I want to show you guys something that I just found. So I mentioned that this engine was the original engine that came out of my wagon, right? Well, technically the second engine. The first engine came from Portland, Oregon, which I sold to a buddy of mine, and he tore it apart because my case scenario with that first engine was it was smoking pretty bad. I mean, it ran tops, but it was smoking like a freight train, right? So I sold it to a buddy of mine, Victor. He took it apart. Turns out cylinder number 2 piston ring lands were melted, right? So I threw a second engine into the car, got it retuned, kind of got it back to where it was, only for it to smoke the same way 7 months later down the road, boosted. So I took that engine out and I stuck the third engine that's in the car now with a new set of injectors. I had Graham 1600 in it before, and I've heard a lot of horror stories about Grahams, but I threw in some, I believe, the ID 2000s, and the car has been running since, knock on wood, right? Aside from me just recently taking it apart. But the engine, the second engine that came out of that car, sat on the engine stand for a couple of years before I sent it off with Chris Built, right? Chris didn't really tell me like what was going on with the block. He literally stripped it down, threw everything in a box, sent the block off to machine, and built the entire long block for me. Just yesterday, I was going through the box of the old parts, the internals that came out of that K20a2 engine. To my surprise, let me grab it. To my surprise, the ring lands on this piston has left the chat. Can you guys see that? This came out of that short block that came out of the wagon, and this is exactly what happened on the first engine, on the second engine, and I still don't know why. The Graham injectors actually flowed and cleaned perfectly. Same harness, same everything that's in the wagon is in the car now, which runs with the current setup. But I still can't explain why this happened 2 times, you know, before. And it's funny enough that the first engine, it was cylinder number 2, 90 compression, right? And the second engine, this one, cylinder number 2, 90 compression. And that's what's causing it. I just thought it was fun to know, because I didn't take the engine apart in the last couple years it sat there, and now I see it firsthand. So, trash. So anyways, guys, we're gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the progress update on the EF sedan. A lot has been done. We heard the new engine fired over for the first time. Sounds pretty aggressive with the all motor header bouncing off the floor and the fluctuation of the idle. But shout out to Chris at Chris Built Race Engines for assembling this new long block for us. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up. If you guys want to stick around for more progress update on the sedan, the all-wheel drive, the turbo kit, all the trims and bumpers and body panels, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.